Hey, all it's Tuesday morning, 8 a.m., and that means it's time for Trash Talk. I got my coffee. You got your coffee there too?
No, I'm out
Oh,
actually.
whoa.
Yes, I am out. I don't need any more right now. I drank a lot, so I have some water over here and I'll be all right.
There you go. Okay. And I see you're sitting in your library.
Yes, it's a very well managed library. Looks familiar to some, but I've read a lot of books over the years.
Yeah. I've been over to Brandon's house and all. He's got this little tiny living room and a little tiny kitchen over there, but his library is incredible.
It's true. Yes, my life. This is it. This is all I got. So,
Sit there for hours. Well, I picked out a subject today because I've been fascinated at the titles that people have been giving books, lately. When I say lately, over the last year or two, when you look at things like John Grisham, some of the John Grisham books and everything, it's usually two or three words, you know,
sure.
the this or that, and and that's the title of the book, and I think that that's what draws you in, is that short title of the book. Ken Follett is the same way. They're both mystery writers and all, and maybe it's true more for nonfiction than for fiction. But today, the titles on books, like for instance, I saw one that says "How to Escape from Hell." I thought,
Get a
okay,
divorce.
that's kind of interesting. I it kind of makes you want to know a little bit more about it. But then it's "How to Escape from Hell: Studies and Interpretations of the Afterlife." Well, to me, kind of that might say, I like the title "How to Escape from Hell," but the subtitle, if you will, for the book and all kind of drives me away. Do you find that sometimes that the book cover has got too many words and maybe gives
Yes.
you too much information?
So titles in general, whether that be for a book, a movie, an album, a podcast episode, um, man, they're crucial. And I run into problems sometimes because sometimes for me, when I'm thinking of a title, I can have a really good one. I'm like, dang, that nailed it out of the park. Boom.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's too short. I have that with my podcast sometimes. I've even gone back and looked at episodes, but like, it's too short. But then I've also looked at other ones. I'm like, dude, that's too long. Like, it's a struggle because just because it's a good title doesn't mean that it should be the title of your book. I think a lot of times, if you're going for a book like that, you almost have to put the description of what it is anyway, but maybe just put it on the back or something.
Well, and that's the other thing that to me, it kind of muddies up the cover of the book, because the cover of a book usually has a good some good art on it, whether it is live art, a photo, a picture of scenery or whatever, and then you've got the name of the book and you've got the author. If you want to know a little bit more about what is inside of the book before you open it, flip it over and look at the back, because the back usually has a brief synopsis, that
Sure.
it's a mystery story of three men who go off in this direction, whatever, and then it usually has a couple of recommendations.
Right, right.
Somebody that says, "I read this book and it was riveting," New York Times, or that kind of, and that's what kind of helps build the interest. But when it says, the title is "My Journey Home: colon how I got from here to around the world and back and through this country and that country and all, in order to arrive back in my living room by
Well,
so and so, the author."
well, then the other thing too to me is the my journey home. obviously, if you need to explain so much more, don't put my journey home, because that could mean anything. It could be literally, or it could be like you suffered an illness and this is
Yeah.
your road to recovery, or you were an addict or a drug dealer. It's all kinds of things. So I feel that way. Sometimes I think it's appropriate if a book is in a series. So let's look at one of the classics. Let's look at Lord of the Rings. So you have Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. Makes sense. Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. That's a series. Star Wars, Return of the Jedi.
Right.
That's a series. But when you have a title of a book and you don't plan on making it a series, I think I don't know if you should have a second subtitle all the time. And I think people do that because they don't have a good main title 9 times out of 10.
I mean, my favorite, I'm a simple kind of guy. There was Rocky, there was Rocky 2, there was Rocky 3, there was Rocky 4. I think we're up to what, Rocky 14 or something.
Yeah. Well, now we just moved on to Creed. So, which, by the way, those movies are excellent.
But to me, I'm sometimes I think that it's going to turn me off if I read too much into that subtitle for the book, because it's not grabbing me to come in.
I've seen that with movies, and I'm going to pick on Avatar. We all know how much I hate Avatar, but the new one, Avatar, The Way of the Water. I hate that name with a passion. I think it sounds awful. There's nothing intriguing about The Way of the Water. They literally could have just said Avatar 2.
Right.
I mean, since Avatar was a multi-billion-dollar movie, and for some reason people like it, when they came out with the second one 37 years later, they could have said, hey, Avatar 2, The Way of the Water just sounds eh.
Yeah, or Avatar Revisited.
I don't know. Avatar, well, you don't want to say revisited, because then they're going to think that it's the same movie redone, remastered, and all that. So you've got to have something. But again, when you look at books, there's been a lot of books that I've read, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is a series. And then I go find out, I'm like, oh, it's not. So why is there 17 titles on this book?
Yeah. I don't know. There's another one out called Serial Killers.
Nice.
Now that doesn't that kind of pique your interest? You think, oh,
well,
it's about serial killers, and is it going to be like 12 chapters, and each chapter is a different serial killer or something?
Right.
But it goes on. It says serial killers, the horrific true crime stories that shook the world. Well, doesn't serial killers kind of say these are horrific stories that shook the world?
It's not like it's called A Walk in the Park, a story about serial killers.
Yes. Or Don't Walk in the Park.
Right. See, I don't, but I also think that absolutely affects sales, viewership, listenership, readership, whatever. I mean, you can get turned off. I mean, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but the reality is we do. And if the title is kind of confusing or not intriguing, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to pick it up. I mean, you just do that. It's just the way the world works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're an author, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, it's sitting over in a box right now. You want to look at it?
Yeah. And isn't your book
That's a series, though.
A title with a colon after it?
It is, but
I intended of an average Joe.
My Life Behind Bars.
My Life Behind Bars.
I intended to do that because it's a series. So the next 2, second's already done, just sitting there, not going to do anything with it. But the third is not even written. But the next 2, if I was only going to do one and done, then I wouldn't have called it that. I would have came up with something else. But to me, I'm like, I like the idea of a series. So if I ever decide when I'm 75 to come up with a new series, then I would change it. You know what I mean? Or a one-off. Nick Luck, I was talking to him because he's in the finalizing stages of his book.
Right.
His is a series. Of course, I completely forgot the name of it, but whatever. His is a series. So, but I don't think that he has the subtitle, actually. I just think he has the main title. And I think he's going to title those books different every time. I could be wrong, but he's doing a different approach to it. So
See,
maybe that'll work.
when I finally get around to writing my book, I'm going to title it My Life Volume 3.
Volume 3, just screw everybody up, just make people look for the other two.
Exactly.
You could go backwards and do like Star Wars and start from the middle, then give us the prequels, then do the end.
Right.
Just screw everybody up.
Yeah. I mean, like watching a movie with multiple flashbacks.
Right. Like watching, like a choose your own adventure,
But and then again, for you as an author, you pick the title for your book. There are other authors that are out there that they just write the script and then they put it in the hands of the publisher. The publisher decides what the title is going to be. They're going to decide what the graphic artwork is going to be for the cover.
And that's fine.
And I guess for an established writer, they say, fine, that's all I want to do. I just want to write the script and then let everybody else do it.
And I get that. I mean, because for me, it's like, look, you have this idea, and you're going to just throw it out there, whether it's right, wrong, good, bad, doesn't matter. You're going to eventually throw it out there, and so you might as well just commit to all of it. I'm not an artist, so I didn't design the cover. I just said, this is my book. Make something that makes sense.
But doesn't that give you an opportunity, like, to reach out to a guy like our friend Nick and say, look,
yes.
I'm writing this book, and
yes.
Nick, how would you like to do the artwork?
Absolutely. I think it's a circle thing, like when I talked to my other buddy Ken back in Michigan, who's I think on his second or third book right now, hey, what are your thoughts on the covers? Since you've got 3 of them out there already, or 4 of them out there, what are your thoughts on the covers on this? You get because if you leave it up to somebody like one of these companies, it's not to say that they're not going to put their best interest at heart, but it's all about the money. How much did you pay them to come up with it? How much are they getting? If it's just a stamp, here you go, boom, they don't care what the cover is.
Right.
I don't know.
And how suggestive do you think that cover photo should be in order to again help with the interest? It's going to sit there on the bookshelf, and also if you are writing this mystery story, is it important to have a photo or artwork on the front cover that kind of enhances the title of the book too?
Well, I think there's a couple of different approaches, in my opinion. Again, what do I know? But in my opinion,
that's why I ask you. Because what do you know?
I don't know anything. I personally think that you got to go at it from a marketing standpoint of, if I'm writing mysteries, do I have some sort of artwork that is connected to the book? So maybe my mystery is about a girl in a red dress. Can I get a local artist to design me a whatever that may be type of cover that's connected to the red dress? Maybe that red dress, if it's a series of books, maybe that's the change and variation going throughout the series. If it's a one-off mystery, then maybe it's a really nice piece. Forget you got your title, but maybe you got this really nice piece that says, ooh, that red dress, it just catches your attention. You pick the book up, you read the back, you buy it. Because selling a book in a store into 2023 is not an easy task,
Right. It's not like you have choices, but look, the same thing is true with marketing grocery products. I mean, just go down the cereal aisles. There are some people that will buy a box of cereal because of the ingredients in the box. But boy, if you're wheeling a child down that aisle, that child is just looking at the pictures they don't care what the cereal is inside. If it's got a good looking rabbit on the outside or something else, or they see the sign that says free toy inside.
Right.
That's what's gonna get it.
It's a bright, colory box with different things. They don't even notice the name. We buy it, and then you realize it said Crappios on it.
Yeah.
So it's too late. You already bought it. So if you buy a book and you're like, look at this beautiful artwork, and then you have a title of the book that says this book sucks, nobody cares because you already bought the book.
Well, when you were a kid, did you ever buy a box of cereal and all just to open it up and stick your arm down all the way through it to get whatever that free insert was that was in there?
Yes, that's all I do now. That's literally all I do now.
And the box sits on the shelf until it expires, and you throw it away because it's stale.
Yeah, I agree. So.
But one of my favorite book covers we were talking a little bit about was what was it? Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So if you remember that book cover, it was this road that led down to this mountain, and then there was this glow on top of the mountain with this space saucer and all. So that
I do remember that.
Yeah, that kind of really incorporated that happened to be a trailer cover for the movie too. Was that in pictures kind of explain what was going to happen inside the book and all, because you saw the space saucer, the mountain, the glow, the long road, and that would kind of grab me, and not knowing what the book was all about, that would have piqued my interest right from the get-go.
Well, that was one of the rare occasions where it actually worked out.
Yeah. I think when you look at like the Harlequin romances, well, hey, where did he go? But there was Harlequin romances when that came out. It was always a picture of a man and a woman that were kissing on the cover, and he was either a soldier or he was maybe he was a pirate or something. We may have lost may have lost our buddy there, so I may have to send him another invite. So while I'm talking, we'll send another invite over to Brandon and get him back into the show. He removed himself temporarily, but hey, that happens from time to time. But it makes this show exciting, to do stuff like that, because it allows us the opportunity to engage you, and then you say, hey, what's going on there? But but I don't know how you all feel about those book titles, but especially I've noticed over the last year or so, a lot of books that are written from a political standpoint. It'll be called the FBI, colon, the rise and the fall of the agency that governs the country. Who knows? But if it's kind of interesting to me, I know it's interesting to Brandon, wherever he is. He's probably off working on a book cover right now. But we like to think about that kind of stuff. Maybe you do too. And since I'll go look for him and wrap up this show. So thanks for joining us for another edition of Trash Talk, and we'll go figure out how Brandon trashed this episode up, and we'll catch you again next week. Okay. Hey, bye.